Hey everyone, welcome back to the show where we're always in OT. We're always ready for OT. I don't know. We got to come up with a better opening. Welcome to everyone back to OT Graps. I'm the man who puts the O in OT, Omar Qureshi, joined as always with the man who puts the T in OT and TT, Trevor. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How about yourself, man?
I'm doing amazing. Just so everyone knows, guys, get your questions in, hit that like button, all that jazz. We have a little bit of a condensed show today because the NBA decided to have the NBA draft lottery. So I'm going to be doing that later on another channel. But we have so much to talk about. And honestly, Trevor, I have no better way or bigger way or whatever way to really get into this without just talking about what the hell happened last night. And
Yeah.
man, oh man. I mean, look, here's the thing. For those of you who do not know, the short story of all of this, the short answer is we still really don't know what happened. But what we know for a fact is that Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out on Monday Night Raw last night, not part of a storyline or not part of a storyline that WWE at least intended to tell. This was a shoot. They walked out. This is real life, people. Sasha Banks and Naomi left WWE Raw last night. In midway through the show, a few minutes into the show, which prompted them to really change everything out. I'm gonna read out the PW Insider article that originally really got my attention and told me that this was happening. But here we go. For those who have asked about the Raw walkout, one version of the story that was floated by several PWInsider.com was that, okay, it's the wrong one. We got to find the right one. But basically what happened, guys, because I'm so good at telling this stuff, basically what happened is Sasha Banks and Vince McMahon walked into a room. They could not come to an agreement about the plans for that night. There was supposed to be a six-pack challenge where Sasha Banks, Naomi, Nikki Ash, I believe Becky Lynch, and Asuka were supposed to be competing in. And that was the match. Sasha Banks and Naomi did not like it. The finish involved Naomi actually pinning Sasha Banks to go on to face the Raw Women's World Champion Bianca Belair. And at a certain point, they pushed back on it, and Vince McMahon did not budge. Sasha Banks, there's also reports saying that, there's also some contract disputes. Again, I don't know. We really still don't know what the hell is going on here. But one thing we know for a fact, Trevor, is that both parties walked into a room disagreeing on the creative, disagreeing on what they saw their characters' directions to be. And it ended up with Sasha Banks and Naomi, apparently, according to WWE, we'll get to their statement in a second because that's a whole topic in its own right. But they walked out,
So
Trevor. They walked out.
that's it. That's the short and long.
That's
of
a
it.
short
They
all
walked
of
out.
it, but I just gave you the Spark Nose version, guys, because there's so much going on here. Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out. Trevor, where were you when you first heard this? What did you think? What are you thinking now?
So actually, I was actually shooting pool, honestly, and I was hanging out and notifications came across my phone, and it just so happens Raw was actually on at the spot where I was shooting pool, and I got the notification. I'm like, what? And like my buddy asked me what's going on. I was like, I'm told him or whatever. He was like, that doesn't make any sense. I didn't know wrestlers did that. And I was like, yeah, it happens. But like it was just so unexpected. I mean, they were going on a good path. They were doing what they enjoyed at the moment. It looked like they were enjoying, what they were doing. And to just walk out like that is so weird. And like some of the reports that I've seen as well, like initially Sasha just gave her belt up, and then Naomi followed suit. And there were also reports that that all three members walked in the room and didn't agree, and then they both walked out with titleless and left the building. So there's a bunch of different different things that have been said. Like you said, and the whole release of WWE is a totally different animal, because that's even worse. But yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I can understand your creative messes you up, right? I mean, like we've seen this somewhat before back in the day with China refused to do something and they took her to court. We've seen it with several different stars, even more than just women. But it's, I mean, Cody Rhodes, a prime example. Cody Rhodes, same thing. But it's just like you wonder if there are different ways to convey that you're not happy with your storyline, or if this even the first talk that they've had. You know what I mean? You don't even know if this is the first talk. So like it was a bunch of different things that we don't know.
One thing we do know, Trevor, is that WWE were not happy with the way, at least, Sasha Banks and Naomi decided to walk out. And look, for what it's worth, again, I'm speaking on behalf of myself on this one, at least. I will. Here's the thing: you're an independent contractor.
Yeah.
You should have the right to walk out whenever you want. Like that's how it should work. They're not employees. So anyone who's saying, "Oh, they're employees for the company and they're doing this and they're getting paid," yeah, they're getting paid. They should probably be making a lot more. They probably should have a lot more rights. They should definitely have a lot more guarantees in their contract. They don't, because they're independent contractors. And as independent contractors, they should not be contractually obligated to, or they should be able to terminate the terms of the contract. That's my quick aside as we get into the scummy nature, honestly, that WWE decided to handle this. So here's what happened. For the and look, say what you want. Last night's Raw was the most watched thing on television last night, which is crazy. Which is crazy, and
I mean, because it wasn't much sports. There was only baseball, like hockey wasn't on. None of the playoffs were on. So
yeah, and another reason people were watching is because WWE decided to turn them walking out into an storyline, but not really, because they called them out for a shoot live on TV. I have not seen anything like this in my time watching wrestling. Sasha Banks and Naomi walk out right, I believe, like in the first quarter hour of the show. And then we have this weird segment. Adam Pearce and Becky are hinting towards it. They change the match. And then on commentary, they say that Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out. And they say it's like unprofessional behavior. Corey Graves, I believe, was like fed a line from Vince that I can't remember right now, but it was just like such a Vince line. I was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah, it was.
And that didn't end there, Trevor, because we have way more on top of already addressing this on TV. WWE did something that I've never seen them do in a situation like this. They released a statement, an actual statement, which we're going to read right here, because what a statement it is. Here's a statement from WWE they released last night during Monday Night Raw. Quote, "When Sasha Banks and Naomi arrived at the arena this afternoon, they were informed of their participation in the main event of tonight's Monday Night Raw. During the broadcast, they walked into WWE Talent Relations John Laurinaitis' office with their suitcases in hands, placed their tag team championship belts on his desk, and walked out." Very interesting to note that they said belts there, but we'll address that later. Goes on to say that they claimed they weren't respected enough as tag team champions, and even though they had 8 hours to rehearse and construct their match, they claimed they were uncomfortable in the ring with two of their opponents, even though they had matches with those individuals in the past with no consequences. Monday Night Raw is a scripted live TV show whose characters are expected to perform the requirements of their contract. We regret we were unable to deliver as advertised on tonight's main event. Where do you start there, Trevor? I mean, there's so much.
There's a lot to unpack, right?
Yeah, we could be... first, let's start with the fact that WWE released a statement in general. Like the fact that they chose to address this in this way and as bluntly and directly as they did, it's so out of character for them.
It kind of makes you wonder, like, what was the reason for them to make the statement? Because, like, it would have to take something severe, right, for them to even make a statement. Because they barely make statements on the talent they release or anything like that. They barely say anything.
They don't anymore.
Yeah.
They just
Not
feed
at all. They say
they just
absolutely
feed
nothing.
the info to Sean Ross Sapp and Dave Meltzer. That's all they do, and then they're like, okay, we're done. Our job's done. We don't need to release a statement.
They say absolutely
They
nothing.
release superstars, not statements.
Exactly. Exactly. They don't take any responsibility for any of the actions when it comes to anything. So what made them make this statement? I have my beliefs, but it's just speculation. I'm gonna keep it to myself. But like,
No. Tell
it's
me the reckless speculation. I want it.
I hate to even say this because this isn't what I'm thinking. This isn't what I believe. But could it be because they are females? Could it be because they are female talent that they felt that they have to get on the internet and on TV and make a giant spectacle of this? Because let's just be honest, they wouldn't do that for anybody else.
I think it's so. Here's the thing. I think you're like partially actually right in a way, because
Yeah,
I think WWE saw this as, like here, look at the optics of it. Not only are these two, yes, females, like you mentioned, these are also two persons of color. Yeah, two African American, two people of color. These are two of the biggest stars in the company walking out in unison, by the way, showing unity.
Yeah,
I think
I love, honestly. I absolutely love that.
Yeah, solidarity. This, I mean, WWE, I think, were in a position where they felt like they had to be the ones to control the narrative. Pardon the pun.
Right.
But that is, and look, as someone who has worked in like comms and politics and all that kind of stuff, this is actually what companies do. That you want to set the tone for the entire conversation. Because now, here's the thing. No one's heard from Sasha Banks. No one's heard from Naomi. Who have they heard from? They've heard from WWE. And WWE has put this idea or put this message out there, right? That they were unhappy with their match. They were unhappy with their creative. And they put their titles on the table and walked out of the company. That is the narrative that they have in their heads. They also said this weird thing in there about apparently Sasha Banks and Naomi were not comfortable wrestling in with two competitors in that match. It has since come out that the two competitors that WWE was talking about in that match were Asuka and Becky Lynch, which begs even more questions, although Wade Keller from PW Torch has refuted this and said that that's just untrue,
Right.
according to everyone backstage. So, again, this is a very complicated story. And I said this in my video last night, everyone. It's a very complicated story. It's going to take a few days, weeks, who knows how long, for all the real details to become more clear. But if you're asking me, right? If you're asking me, did Sasha Banks and Naomi walk out because of creative disagreements over one match? Absolutely not. There's
it wasn't
absolutely
one
no
match.
way. No. This has been building. Look, again, I don't know Naomi or Sasha Banks. I've been following their careers. We've been covering them here. I like to think that I at least know, I like to think that they're not like that they're going to take one thing out of context. Like Sasha Banks, by the way, has been unhappy in WWE before. Remember after WrestleMania 35? Yeah, after WrestleMania 35.
Took the words right out of my mouth over.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, this has definitely been building, and I don't think this is a one-issue thing. This is definitely over time. The concerns that apparently are coming out now are that Sasha Banks and Naomi were concerned about the way that WWE women's tag team titles were going to be presented and all that. I mean, again, there's so many layers of this story. It's hard to wrap your head around. We want to get your guys' thoughts on it, obviously, but I mean, Trevor, there's, I guess, like one of the big overall questions that people have coming out of this is that, should Sasha Banks and Naomi talk about this, like publicly? I mean, there's good reason to, there's good reason not to, but what do you think about that?
Now, like you said, pretty much, like there is good reason to. There's a great reason to, but there also is many reasons why you should not. But I think just knowing what I know of Sasha Banks, again, and Naomi, Neither one of us have met them. I don't know them, but from what they are portrayed in interviews and portrayed throughout their career, they seem to be level-headed enough where they know that their names are pretty much being tarnished and run through the mud right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's going to happen by a company that you so-called embarrass. They probably feel like they were embarrassed by them and they walked out. But again, this isn't something that just happened 24 hours ago. This isn't something that caused that it happened. I'm sorry.
So, I'm sorry. No, I'm interrupting. But the exact quote was that they don't feel valued as tag team champions. That was the exact quote. So,
and I mean, let's just be honest. The women's tag division is kind of a joke. The belts are kind of jokes. Like I hate to say it because like I would love it to be relevant, but they're not. They really aren't. Like I mean, just look at some of the teams that they just randomly just meshed together and won the belts.
Are you telling me that Shayna Baszler and Natalya, the historic tag, the future Hall of Chigga Hall of Fame, that is as a tag team they're going into the Hall of Fame? How dare you besmirch the greatness of Natalya?
Are we seriously gonna sit here and not talk about Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon? Like, even though I love them both, and I do absolutely, and they worked as a tag team, but come on,
Ember Waves of Black. That could have been their name. That could have been a really good name.
Actually, yeah, they missed a lot of. They missed a lot of opportunities with them. They did. I mean, they missed a lot of opportunities with this division anyway. But yeah, like I mean, we know this didn't just happen. This has happened for for however how long. Like you mentioned, Sasha Banks has been toying with leaving WWE like at least twice that I know of. So I mean, this isn't something that just happened. This is something that they've been talking about for a while. It's been in the works for a while. So I mean, honestly, I think they should say something either individually or just together. I think it would be a good idea for them to just to let their fans know, and also let WWE know that no matter what you say, you can't kill our character. You can't kill our integrity or whatever. Like, we're gonna speak out, but also that could hinder them as well. So it's kind of a catch-22 situation.
Here's what I'll say. And again, a lot of this conjecture. I think Sasha Banks pretty much told everyone what they needed to know when she followed almost all the WWE accounts there were, unfollowed all the WWE accounts there were on Twitter.
She sure did.
I think she pretty much made that clear. Sasha Banks is not someone who's going to, just toe a company line, especially if she's getting really disrespected in the way that she is by her company. And people need to remember this. I mean, here's the thing. We actually did talk about this a little bit, Trevor, back when the Tony Khan Big Swole thing happened, where it says, here's like, Tony Khan could very well have not liked Big Swole's wrestling and thought she was a bad wrestler, right? Very well, and that could be his honest critique. His honest critique was not the issue. The issue was the position of power that he was coming from, the platform he was using, and the way he was going about putting that message out there was completely unprofessional. And in that same light, I think that WWE, the way they've handled this, the way they've put this statement out there, the way that they have, they basically, again, it's a smart strategy from a comm standpoint, because that is the first thing that's going to be in people's minds, right? That Sasha Banks and Naomi thought that Becky Lynch and whoever and Asuka were dangerous, right? And that's the reason they walked out. That's the story that people are going to go back to, because that's the first story they heard, right? That's the first side they heard. And a lot of times, for whatever reason, for right or wrong, that is usually the side that people can't get, like the public can't get past. That's usually the side they end up believing. It's unfortunate. We shouldn't do that. We should be opening and listening to a lot of sides, but that's how it works. So, just like that Tony Khan thing was scummy, this is also scummy. I'm not gonna try to rate them against each other because they're two kind of different topics. But this is scummy. It's a scummy thing for a $1 billion company. In the most profitable time of their entire existence, one of the most powerful times they've ever been. Like WWE is at the zenith of its power, even with AEW doing what they're doing, right? Nothing's gonna stop WWE. And for them to go out there and put this out there and then turn it into a storyline, but not really on TV, it doesn't get worse than that. And that is the thing. I implore all of you people out there, just stop. Or here's the thing. Don't support wrestling companies. Just support wrestlers. And that doesn't mean you can't like a WWE or you can't like AEW. No, you can like the product. You can even like the company. My point is, you should never like a company more than you like wrestlers. Because at the end of the day, you got to support good wrestlers and good wrestling. Companies don't really give a crap about you. They don't really give a crap about the wrestlers. What they care about is the money. That's it. Mm-hmm. And they care about money and what makes the money, and that is also their self-image. So there's that. Last wrinkle, I will let you finish, but last wrinkle I wanted to get in of news is that Dave Meltzer reported that this could be in connection with a contract issue as well. He said, quote,
I was thinking that too.
Some issues with the contract, I think that more will probably be coming out as to why and what they were unhappy about. It wasn't something that just happened tonight. Some of it was building up. So Dave Meltzer noting that this could be related to a contract dispute. And again, like we said, it cannot just be one thing. Impossible. No. Anyone out there who's claiming it's just one thing, you are dead wrong.
And it can't be just one thing. And you said it best when you said just support the wrestlers. Don't support the company. The company is going to be there. These wrestlers, have short shelf life. Unfortunately, if they're lucky, they have longer ones. But yeah, always support the talent, which is the wrestler. And another thing, like you said, how scummy this is, and it is. It does not put WWE in a good light. I mean, let's be honest, nothing they've done recently have. But in a day and age when, like, just weeks ago, they've been talking in the news about women's rights and like all this other stuff, and then also with all the race talk about African Americans, and unfortunately the news in Buffalo this past, and you do this, and you get on social media and not only like drag them through the mud, but you make up what, 4 different stories? There's 4 different reports, and they're all from WWE. Like, it doesn't look good at all. It definitely doesn't look good. If they look bad before, they look worse now.
It is, and that's the thing. Like people like to ignore the power dynamic that exists between the company and the wrestler. Like, the company always holds the majority of the cards. The wrestlers rarely ever do, and that's why it's like so critical when people talk about wrestling unions or player organizations. Like these are serious things that should happen. That would create a better situation. Doesn't mean it would be optimal. Doesn't mean it would be the best it can be, but it would create a better situation for the pro wrestlers and pro wrestling in general. But who knows if we'll ever get to that? We likely won't ever. But at the end of the day, I mean, kind of wrapping up this whole Sasha Banks and Naomi thing, because we're probably going to be talking about this for a while. Putting a bow on it. Do you see, again, we're very early in this, but do you see a resolution where Sasha Banks and Naomi come back after this?
I don't think they're going back to WWE.
Really?
If they come back, I don't think they are. I mean, they could. It could be something that could be resolved and whatever. I mean, especially since Naomi's husband is still in WWE. I mean,
yeah. That's the other thing. Jimmy Uso, like literally the day of, like, did an interview before Monday Night Raw where he said he would want Naomi to join the Bloodline. So like there was already something.
They've been hinting about that anyway because she's walked out with him a couple times and everything. But yeah, like I mean that's the thing. Like maybe she would, but I don't think Sasha would. I think this is enough. You know what I mean? Because like we said earlier, this isn't the first time she's had it up to here with. Well, she was sick of the powers that be at WWE. So this could be it for her. I mean, her husband does fashion or something with WWE. I forget he does something behind the scenes with WWE, but I could see her just saying sayonara and rolling out honestly, and finding work elsewhere.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is with Sasha Banks, I mean, people think like, oh, she's gonna go to AEW, or all that. I'm just like, look, if the money's
she's going
right,
straight indies.
Not even. No, I don't even think she. I think she's gonna do. She's gonna do what Mark Henry in 2006 said he was gonna do. I'm going to Hollywood.
I mean, probably.
No.
She's been in a few movies.
Yeah, she's been in a few movies.
And a few shows.
She's got a great presence. She's got the connections. She's got the talent. She can make it happen. Like she could legitimately do that transition. She talked about how acting is like another passion of hers, and at some point she's going to have to decide. She said this before. At some point she's going to have to decide between pro wrestling and acting, and might not be a better time to decide than now. I mean,
wasn't she in the Mandalorian episode of the Mandalorian?
I think she was, or something like that. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, Sasha Banks is going to do what Sasha Banks wants to do. She's the boss, and she's very talented. I mean, and when Snoop Dogg is your uncle, like the sky's the limit. Cousin. I'm sorry. Yes,
uncle,
yes,
cousin,
y'all.
Sorry.
Uncle, is Uncle Grand? Was that Cartoon Network show? Uncle Grandpa. Yeah, I'm Uncle Grandpa. But I mean, look, yeah, she's got the connection, she's got everything to make it work, and there's no reason why it wouldn't. That being said, if the money's right, the money's right. Here's all I'll say about this AEW potential talk. There's one thing I will say. If Sasha Banks or Naomi end up going to AEW, and we still have lingering issues with or the way that AEW books their women's division with time and all that, then I am going to just be like at that point, I'm like, we're all gonna have to just accept the fact that Tony Khan cannot book women's wrestling properly.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he hasn't booked good matches before or good programs. It means he can't consistently book women's wrestling. He just can't do it.
I mean, it happens. Let's see.
Apparently, it happens every Wednesday night on AEW Dynamite. When we get our one token match of Serena Deeb versus Hikaru Shida 16 in a kendo stick from hell match. I mean, God, I love seeing Deeb and Hikaru Shida wrestle.
But come on, man, it's just
spread them apart, spread them apart for a little bit. Give me 6 months. And you're like 6 weeks, 6 days later at AEW Battle of the Belts. That nobody knew about before. We are gonna have a championship match and that's been promoted for 2 days.
And they definitely need to. Thunder Rosa needs to wrestle more. She definitely does.
Hangman Adam Page needs to wrestle more. They don't what is going on with these champions not wrestling? Although Page is wrestling, I guess, this week on Dynamite. So you got that.
Yeah. Anywho.
Speaking of AEW, amazing transition. Actually, before we get to that, guys, hit that like button, subscribe. CC in the chat says, if it was a man who walked out, I don't think they would have made such a big deal. Unfortunately, because they're females and women of color, I think that WWE are going to make this a huge spectacle. So here's the thing.
It depends on the man.
I hear and that's why I said, right, it's a combination of factors. I think that yes, you cannot ignore the fact that optically they had to get ahead of it because of the fact that involves women and women of color, like, and the sensitivities that we have around that, and rightfully so, right? But at the end of the day, these are also two of the biggest stars walking out. And remember when? Here's the thing. Remember when Stone Cold walked out?
Yep.
In 2002, Stone Cold walks out of WWE before a King of the Ring qualifying match against Brock Lesnar. And on commentary that night, JR made reference to Stone Cold took his ball and went home.
Right.
And Vince McMahon did promos about it. And it was actually this huge deal they made out of Stone Cold walking out. So I mean, look, they have done similar things before. I just think that the fact that we're in like this social media age, it's going to be made a bigger deal because information travels so fast.
Yeah, but you can't ignore the fact that, like, yeah, they made a big deal about it. And like I said, if it's not, it really depends on, at the end of the day, of the male superstar, right? Like if Roman Reigns did it, they would definitely do it. But like
Neville
also,
did it and they didn't care.
Exactly. Like, didn't give a damn. But like if China did something similar and they made a huge deal about it, and like, so the track record with women is not great. So I could see where other people would think that. But again, this is just speculation. We're not saying this is what it is, but it don't look good.
Look at all that oil on my shrimp. Did you get that video I sent you?
I did. Oh my god, it was hilarious.
The New Orleans fisherman from South Park.
I thought I commented back on it, but it was absolutely hilarious.
It was just like, I saw that. I was just like, Trevor, oh, that's it. When I do my New Orleans accent, that's what I'm doing. That dude from South Park. Oh, look at that oil on my shrimp. I got all screwed.
The funny thing is, that sounds like my uncle.
Oh god. Jambalaya. Oh, guys. Moving on. Our next story that we're going to talk about. It's also a doozy. And look, before we get into like all of this talk about, people leaving, remember, these are all just reports. Yep. Everyone is still with the company that they were with yesterday. No one's been released. No one's going to be released, likely. It's okay. Really nothing has changed. So, with that, let's go into this next story of Maxwell Jacob Friedman, Trevor, who is an unhappy camper. He's very unhappy. Look at him with his little scarf. He's smiling through the pain. MJF is very upset about his current contract situation. Remember, MJF signed a contract back in 2019 when AEW first launched. And back then, he was not as well known of a commodity as he is now. Of course, now MJF is basically a household name in professional wrestling, best heel in the game. And he's still on that rookie contract, basically, that he got back in 2019. He wants to get a raise. He's talked about the bidding war of 2024. And we had a report from Fightful and multiple other sources this week, Trevor, that really made one thing clear, and that is that MJF wants to get paid. Of all the things that made clear, MJF wants to get paid. The report is that MJF is unhappy with AEW. He's unhappy with management, unhappy with the way his contract talks have been going, and he's leaning towards leaving AEW in 2024 when his contract is up. Now, there's also some residual heat, obviously, that's gone on MJF since then, but what do you make of this report, Trevor, that MJF unhappy about his contract and is leaning towards leaving AEW for possibly greener pastures?
As much as MJF is a big a talent as MJF is, he's also not a dumb man. He's actually a very smart young man. And I think it could be him stirring the pot, honestly. to try to get under the skins of the execs and try to get more money out of the situation. Because like if they honestly believe, it's like any contract negotiation in any sports star, right? Like you hear that someone wants to go somewhere else, like okay, the talk's up there. You know what? We want to keep him. He's a big talent. We need him. Let's throw more money at him. So it's a contract ploy sometimes. Now I don't know if that's exactly what's going on with him. This is just speculation. It's just what my opinion is. Now it could be a contract ploy. But it also, like you said, him and Tony Khan had a few issues a couple months back. So, and it seemed that those issues came back up recently. So it could be a number of things, but let's just be honest. His product of work is not showing that he's unhappy with that company. Like, I mean, he's still coming out shooting some of the best promos. Mm-hmm. He's still coming out being one of the better performers on the show, even when he's not wrestling. He's still coming out being the excellent jackass that he is, So, I mean, it could be that he's unhappy, but, it also looks like he's enjoying what he's doing at the moment, too.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If I'm MJF, I'm 100% unhappy. I'm 100% unhappy
because he doesn't even wrestle. They barely wrestle.
No,
he wrestles what?
No,
once in a while.
No, it's not even that. I'd be very unhappy if I was MJF, not because of the wrestling or way of being presented on TV. I think MJF is being presented on TV in a really, really good way. Yeah. If I'm MJF, I'm pissed about the amount of money I'm making because he's seeing that CM Punk, he's seeing that people who he has held his own against, who've come into this company since he started there, have all surpassed him, making way, way, way more money than MJF has ever seen basically in his life from AEW. I mean, it is got to be infuriating on some level where you're out there proving that you are this great guy, that this such an elite talent, that at the age of 25, the age of 26, you are headlining pay-per-views basically with the likes of CM Punk, Chris Jericho, Darby Allin, all of these all of these superstars. And you're still making basically comparatively pennies to what people like Jericho and Punk are making right now. And knowing that he's a draw, knowing that he has right now, I think the hottest feud in the entire company. That Wardlow MJF thing,
it is. It's the hottest one.
It's amazing. It's the hottest feud in professional wrestling right now.
No one is really caring about the Adam Page and CM Punk because I mean, to be honest, it just came out of nowhere. They didn't really put much love into it.
I do.
This is one of the better ones.
I love the angry Adam Page. He's an angry Hangman. He's just like, I don't like you, CM Punk. And CM Punk's like,
it's fun to watch.
I don't like you, Adam Page. And it's just like they're nose to nose.
But I do respect you. I respect you.
And Adam Page is like, I don't respect you. Now give me my belt. No, but MJF has a reason to be unhappy, and I do actually believe that he is unhappy. I actually 100% believe.
No, like I said, I don't necessarily not believe it, but I also think if I'm MJF, I would let it be known too. Like I mean, because like I said, it actually could get that contract that he wants too.
Here's the thing though. There's going to be like people joke like it's a gimmick, right? Like, oh, the bidding war of 2024. It's a very nice thing MJF says. It's real, people. Mm-hmm. WWE wants MJF. Like this is not. It's not a work. It's not a thing of they're just saying that to get under AEW skin or piss off AEW fans. It is a real thing. WWE. The networks, they all want MJF because they know how talented he is. They know how popular he's getting, and they know what he can be in just a few years' time. Again, probably the greatest or best pro wrestler in the world, or best overall package in the world. So all that taken in, he's going to get not just a comparable offer. I think WWE is going to end up offering him more money than AEW. I genuinely think that.
I think so too. I mean, like if I'm WWE, and when I say this, I mean no disrespect, but he is a younger, more talented version than the Miz. He is what the Miz wanted to be, and they never pushed him to be that way. He's. I mean, let's just be honest. Let's
What's
call a
that?
spade a spade. He really
What's that?
is.
What's that old Sami Zayn line? I'm worth 1,000 Eva Marie's.
Let's just be honest. Like if WWE would have nurtured what Miz could have been, Miz would have been similar to MJF. MJF is a better version of the Miz.
Oh yeah,
and like he's definitely going to sell. I mean, if I'm WWE, I would break the bank to get the MJF.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? So yeah, so I guess there's that. See, here's the thing too. I mean, yeah, you can say he's a better Miz. I don't even think that matters at the end of the day. I think
It doesn't. I'm just saying. Yeah.
He's just like he's just really good. The other thing that people think, like people are like, oh, it's all a work. He'll never leave AEW. There is.
I don't. That's true.
When the second Cody Rhodes, the news broke that Cody Rhodes signed with WWE, literally all bets are off. I am not. Here's the thing. I'm not going to sit there and say it's impossible for anyone to do anything. The one thing we can honestly say, Trevor, that we have learned over the past year or so in pro wrestling, you can never say never. Like the word never should never literally be allowed to be used when reporting or talking about wrestling news, because outside of death, like, there is nothing that's going to stop anyone in pro wrestling from doing anything. Ric Flair is about to wrestle Ricky Steamboat.
Yep.
We have
both of them coming out of retirement.
Both of them coming out of retirement. You have Sting doing dives onto concrete off of like 10 feet walls. You have Jeff Hardy doing dives off of walls onto tables.
Into walls.
Into walls. You have Christian Cage, who's I think about to have his hottest run in AEW when he turns heel on Jungle Boy at the age of 48. You have Edge being nearly 50 years old and
still a psychopath.
Revitalizing his character. Chris Jericho in the best shape of his career.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
It's like it is so crazy. Like we are a long way
Chris
away.
Jericho has abs, and I'm like, what the hell?
Chris Jericho, man, Joss. Like, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm watching WCW 1999 right now, and I am watching these like 40, like Hulk Hogan's like what 42, 45, whatever when this happened. No hair on his head. He's like, oh, brother, I can't even wear a t-shirt, bro. I gotta wear a t-shirt, brother. Can't show off the one pack, brother. Like, you know, like it's like I'm watching that. That's the shape that those guys were in the year 99. And like here, everyone's like everyone's like ripped, everyone's shredded, everyone has hair. What is happening?
Well, like I was telling you last week, I have a friend who's well into his 30s. He's like 35. And he has just started wrestling with MCW last year and is doing amazing. Like, I mean, he's in great shape. His body, I mean, he's sore or whatever. But in people that don't think that's a big deal,
does he
it's
even
a big
have
deal.
hair? Does he even have hair?
Yes, he does have hair.
Okay. He's part of he's the new breed, the new blood rising.
Screw you, sir.
I mean,
well, yeah, man. It's just it's just determination and in good shape will always keep you in there, I guess. Help you anyway.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I'll say about the whole like all this talk about people leaving promotions and people being unhappy and all that. If the trade between WWE and AEW is like Sasha Banks goes to Sasha Banks for MJF, if that's the trade. That's a pretty good trade for me. Like I'll take that trade.
I mean, yeah, I'll take that trade.
I'll take that trade.
My problem is, do you think that? I mean, they're gonna have to, but do you honestly think they're gonna push MJF?
Yeah. Oh yeah. If they pay him that much money, they're gonna push him, at least for a little bit. Like, yeah. And they're gonna make him feel like a big deal
for a while.
The only thing, like, here's the thing. It's kind of like the Cody thing. You know how like in AEW, one of the big things that Cody liked to do was the blood gimmick. Like he get blood for big matches.
Right.
But you're not going to see that in WWE, obviously. Just like you're not going to see parts of MJF stuff. You're not going to see MJF, curse and
No.
he's not going to be calling people's mothers a methany anytime soon.
No, he's not going to do that. No.
I still can't believe MJ. Like, what a promo that man is. He's
a walking promo.
He sent Brian Pillman Jr.'s sister into labor with a promo. Like he can, like, that's the thing. He like that's he'll always be able to say things like, my promo was so good.
I still think one of the funniest things I've seen him do is when he was taking a picture at a signing, and like he said, "All right," he tells the kid, "All right, get up here and take the picture." He's looking at the kid, and the kid just flips him off, and he literally has nothing to say. He almost busts into tears, almost breaks character. He said, "You know what? Get out of here! Get out of here!" Like, he almost breaks character. Like, he's awesome. I thoroughly enjoy MJF.
No. He's not awesome. Miz is awesome.
Oh,
MJF is better than you.
Better than you, and you know it.
Exactly. Can you imagine if MJF just comes? Oh God, they're gonna do that feud, aren't they?
You know they are. They are.
Who's gonna be the face in that feud? Oh, they're gonna have Miz be the face.
Miz
Oh no, face Miz. Oh, it's Stone Cold Mike Mizanin. I can't wait to see that one. You remember face Miz going into Mania 35 against Shane McMahon?
Oh, it was terrible.
Where Stone Cold Mike Mizanin he's opening a can of whoop ass on security, and he's battling 20 security guards. Like, oh God.
I do remember that. Yeah, man.
Man,
Crazy.
Look, whatever happens, I just hope MJF sticks around long enough to do that feud with Samoa Joe. I want to see that feud.
And I hope he holds the belt at some point. Jesus.
Oh, he's gonna hold the belt. I said it before, I'll say it again. MJF will be the All Elite Wrestling World's Champion. Here's the thing. MJF will win the AEW World title, no matter who wins at Double or Nothing. MJF will win the AEW World's Heavyweight Championship at AEW All Out in Chicago-ish area, wherever. We still don't know where All Out's going to be. We'll probably find out in a few weeks. That's sell out the United Center. Chicka Hall of Fame. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, they're gonna do their thing. I mean,
of course.
That's the other thing about AEW. What do you think about them running? So let's say they do run Chicago again for All Out. That would mean they would do that would mean that they do Forbidden Door, which is in Chicago at the United Center. Mm. Then they're probably going to do like Rampage and Dynamite the week leading up in Chicago as well. So I mean, like they did all of that in a shorter period of time, but I mean, what do you think about that? Like them running Chicago again potentially for All Out? Should they?
It's kind of, it seems like they're kind of, even though they already have a home, in Florida, but it kind of seems like they're trying to make Chicago one of their honeypot spots, one of their favorite.
It's not
favorite
there. It's not. That AEW headquarters too is in Chicago. Like they own Chicago. Like that is their town.
Yeah. So it does make sense, but like, in the same aspect, you're like, branch out, go other places. Like they had a great showing in Louisiana. They had a great showing in New York. Like, a lot of the places they've been, like
they're going to LA soon.
They are going to LA soon. But I heard the show in Baltimore was amazing.
Still upset about that.
Yeah, I'm upset I didn't go to the one in DC. So.
Oh my God! I mean, here's the thing. I mean, they have. I remember AEW did like. I think it was actually their last show. It was the last show AEW did before the pandemic started. It was in Salt Lake, which is like not traditionally like a big wrestling town. That crowd was electric that night. That's like one thing that really stands out in my mind. I was so ready for blood and guts. And so was that crowd, and we didn't get it.
No.
But it looks like we're getting blood and guts. Joss. I actually really dig this feud between the Jericho Appreciation Society and Blackpool Combat Club. Like the sports entertainers versus the wrestlers.
They stepped into it, yeah. I can't wait for the confrontation tomorrow.
Oh, you know damn well William Regal's gonna be like, Chris Jericho, you soiled my tea. I can't wait for that.
And just punch him.
You bloody fool. And then Chris Jericho's gonna be like, you stupid idiot. I'll do it again.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be
God,
great.
it's gonna be amazing. Must see television. Well, anytime William Regal's on. And look, as we're winding down here, we have a few minutes left. Trevor, do you have any last things you want to bring up, talk about? Any questions, concerns, comments, life lessons?
Life lessons. That's funny.
Or what are you watching?
I mean,
yeah.
I've been watching a lot of UFC actually recently.
Ooh, look at that.
I've been trying to catch up on a few matches. I watched Fight Night last week. Couple good matches, couple mid-carders,
Couple mid-carders. That's what they are.
But you know what's funny with UFC? They have them, but they aren't really mid-card. You know what I mean? Like they are mid-carders, but they aren't. Exactly. You know what I mean? That's what they're still some of the most dangerous people to walk the earth. But no, like it's been kind of lackadaisical with wrestling. I haven't been watching a lot of wrestling lately. I've watched AEW. I did catch some of MCW, their first pay-per-view. I've been watching NWA Power. So, little stuff here and there. Watching Matt Cardona do promos and talk bad about other people. So, Well, how about you? Are you still watching WCW right now? Or?
We are in the end times. I don't know if I probably said that a few times. We are like in the.
But no, you're definitely.
No, this is like DEFCON 1. Like this is like you remember Watchmen? Yeah, you ever seen that movie Watchmen? Yeah, you remember you remember Nixon Remember Nixon in Watchmen, where he's just like, you don't tell me when we're in DEFCON 5. I tell you when we're in DEFCON 1.
Yeah, I remember that.
We're in DEFCON 1. It is the end times. This company is about to lose. Somehow they're about to even double their losses in 2000, and I'm going to be there to see how exactly all of this breaks down. El Dandy, I hardly knew ye. Sad. El Dandy, never gonna get a shot at that coveted WCW World Title. Oh man, God. And here's the thing. There was like a gap in my knowledge about WCW for a while. I
remember when you first started watching this, you didn't know much.
No, I mean I knew. No, here's the thing. I knew. Okay, here's the thing. I started this journey in like 2015.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like I started in the before time, like before Hogan.
Yeah,
oh, buddy, it was. Yeah. I mean, it was interesting. It was like old school wrestling, and then we got to the Hogan era, where it's just like brother. Oh, brother, less roidy brother though.
Brother all over the place, brother.
It was just brother all over the place, and now it's like now it's just like Horace, brother, my brother, your father.
Dude, that's so
Your father,
was the worst.
My dead brother.
Oh my God, Horace Hogan was the worst thing ever.
Horace Hogan. Oh my God,
it was worse than his Spaghetti Mania, his Pasta Mania. I'm sorry.
Remember what's that story Hulk Hogan told? Hulk Hogan told that story where it's just like, brother, I was supposed to get the not the Gary Coleman girls, the George Foreman girls. I'm thinking Drake and Josh.
Yes.
No, like apparently Hogan was supposed to get the George Foreman grill offer, but he missed the call, so they gave it to George Foreman. And I'm just like, that is not how this works, dog. If you were the first, they would have sent you a letter. They would have reached out to your lawyer. You would have signed that deal if you wanted it. You either didn't want it or you're lying. Probably lying.
It's probably a little column A, a little column B.
Yep. Hulk Hogan being jealous of a black man. What else is new?
The Hogan Grill cooks your burgers to perfection, brother, and a little bit of racism.
Trevor, where can people find you?
Check me out on Trevor Tainment at Twitter, and I'm constantly not posting anything. I've been posting more recently. I'm on Instagram barely, but yeah.
Cool. All right. And you guys know where to find me. Guys, tune in next week. Tune in always. Tune in. Be happy. Be healthy. And as always, please, please, please remember to keep it real.